Hey YouTubers, thanks for checking out the video today. Today's video is going to be on how to set up your baitcaster to alleviate and stop backlashing or bird's nesting. Okay, so pretty much backlashing or bird's nesting is while you're casting it, you get all tangles up here, and we've all had that problem. Certainly a lot of people that have started off using baitcasters for the first time, you're gonna you're gonna encounter that problem real often. Now, when I first bought my baitcaster, no one truly explained to me how it worked, and in a really simplistic, easy to understand way. So I'm going to try to do this for you today, guys, and this is 100% definitely how you completely alleviate and simplistically stop bird's nesting or backlashing. Alright guys, so I'm going to start off with the reason why I've got 3 reels here. It's because they are 3 different types of low profile baitcasters. Now they're all pretty similar, they do a similar job, but they got 3 different types of braking systems on there, but I'll get into that in just a second, and I'll let you know why I put them 3 there as an example. Guys, I'm going to zoom into this heaps awesome drawing that I just did. I am an artist, so thank you. If this here is yourself, the angler, whether you be on the shoreline or on a boat, it doesn't matter. This here represents the water, guys. Obviously this here is the air, this here is the water here. Now pretty much with the baitcaster itself, there's going to be a few simple things that I have to go through. It doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, whichever side is the handle side, you're going to have a knob here on most of your pretty much all of your modern baitcasters, okay, right in the middle of where the axis would run through here for your spool. So what this here is guys, the spool tension. Okay, so remember that is the spool tension. It's always on the same side as the handle. If you're left-handed, it would be on that side with the handle here, and the spool tension would be on the left-hand side there. But I'm right-handed, so all my reels are right-handed, but it doesn't really matter. It's just the opposite way around. So the same side as the handle is the spool tension. Okay, on the opposite side, guys, is going to be your braking system. Now there's a couple of, well, a fair few different types, but in this video, I've got 1, 2, 3 different types of baitcasters with different types of I should say braking systems. Okay, so they both work hand in hand, so they both, okay, somehow control the friction on this spool. Okay, so they both, if you tighten them all up, which is what you should always do for every bait that you tie on. Once you get better at it, you won't need to, you'll simply know. But for guys who are starting off, I'm sure that's why you're watching this video, tighten everything up, so put it to the maximum. So what I mean by maximum is the braking system. On this one here, it's from 20, which is the maximum, through to almost completely not maximum or completely free, which is 0. And then if I turn this until it's really tight, that means there's a lot of tension on that spool to a point where I can't even really move that spool. So as I'm releasing this, it's going to be a lot more free-flowing, and there we go, it's a lot more loose there, the spool. Okay, now let me tell you the differences between the both. They both work hand in hand, yes, that's correct, but like I said, no one has ever explained to me what this actually does and what this actually does. So spool tension and braking system actually does, guys. So back to this diagram, and I'm going to show you what it actually does. First of all, what I want you to do is tighten up everything, that and that, as you're starting, the spool tension and the braking system. Hold your rod out vertically, excuse me, not vertically, horizontally, excuse me. Once you got your rod held out horizontally, I would then want you to release the spool by doing that. Once you do that, your lure should somewhat drop depending on how much tension is on the spool. At the moment, we've tightened everything up. We've tightened both spool tension and the braking system up. So you know what, if you've done it right, that lure should not move whatsoever. I then want you to slowly to release this until your spool tension, until your lure falls down and then hits the ground. Even if you're on solid ground or water, it doesn't matter. Once it hits either water, ground, or rock, a tree, whatever, an animal that happens to be walking by, once it hits a solid object, okay, and that includes water as well, you're set it to a point where it stops automatically once you hit that object or water, okay? If by chance it's overrunning, it means that you need to tighten that up, wind it back up, and then once again horizontally release your spool. Then once your lure hits the water, it should not at all overflow. It should just stop right there as the lure actually drops and hits the water. Okay, so that's the first step. Second step, I then want you to wind it up and then cast. So then I want you to cast it out there, and then what you're going to notice is once you hit the water, obviously since we've set it correctly, that will not overrun. So you've set the spool tension correctly. Spool tension, it's got to do with once it hits an object, the water or a solid object in any way, shape or form. Okay, now what I want you to do next, guys, is to get further casting distance, because you're going to notice you're going to cast to about here. Okay, because we've tightened up the braking system. So now what I want you to do is get further distance. So instead of, I've got here 20, instead of 20, I'm going to turn it to, I'm going to be real outrageous, and I'm going to go all the way to about 12. Guys, go in slow increments if you're going to be starting off, okay? And then when you're casting it, instead of casting it to about here, you're now going to get about this sort of distance, as an example, okay? And then once you keep going like that, I'm going to even get even more courageous. I'm going to go to number 6 here, which is very, very free or loose on the spool. It's then going to cast real far. But then what I'm going to do is encounter a problem. I'm going to encounter a problem with backlashing or bird's nesting while the lure is flying out and before it hits the water. Remember, once it hits the water, it's got to do with the spool tension, and while it's flying out, it's got to do with the, yep, you guessed it, the braking system. So I've adjusted it to 6, but that's way too loose. Instead of before I had it on 12, then I adjusted it to 6, I might go 10 this time. And I'm finding every single cast is about perfect. It's about on the borderline of about to bird's nest or backlash, which is, well, the maximum casting distance for your particular bait cast reel. Now, like I said, the reason why I've got 3 bait cast reels is because every manufacturer, a lot of different reels have got different designs in terms of how they want to set up their braking systems. This one here is going to be a magnetic braking system. I won't get into that too much, guys. Do read up on that. It is just different forms of slowly slowing down that spool as it's spinning while your lure is in the air. Okay, magnetic system, braking system has got to do with while the lure's in the air, and this has got to do with once it's landed. So now what I'm going to show you is with this particular Shimano, it's a hybrid. It's a combination of the external braking system like we were adjusting with this one here. This is completely external. This one here is external, and if I open it up, it actually has internal as well. So it's got an older style centrifugal braking system as well. You know, once it spins fast enough or too fast, these little red bits here, as you can see, are flipping up because of that force of spinning, and it's going to hit the side walls in here, therefore creating friction and slowing it down. So I don't want to get into, like I said, guys, too much about that. But lastly, the last reel here is a 13 fishing reel, which is completely internal. So if I open that up, all the adjustments are completely internal. For me, every time I put on a different lure, if I feel the need, I have to open that up and actually adjust it internally because it's a completely internal system. Alright guys, so just a quick debrief, real simplistic. Anytime it's got to do with the water landing in the lure landing in the water, and then you're having birds nesting once it lands in the water, it means it's the spool tension that needs to be tightened up. Anytime you're getting birds nesting while in the air and it hasn't hit an object or hasn't hit any particular you know, water or object, it's got to do with the braking system. If there is wind and you are encountering, or for any reason you are encountering bird's nesting on the way out before it hits the water. So in the air, it means you need to tighten up and add more friction onto the braking system. Guys, it's as simple as that. Spool tension's got to do with once the lure lands in the water, and the braking system has got to do with, well, the lure flying towards in the air, and it hasn't landed in the water yet. It can be a little bit confusing, but once you get used to it, it's going to be very quick for you to get the maximum casting distance. And I hope this video has been a help to you. If there is any questions that you have, please comment below. If there is anything I can do better for you guys, because that's the reason why I do these videos, is so you know, we all can get out there and fish better and give ourselves, I should say, a better chance of catching more fish, guys, instead of having to undo the bird's nest or backlashing all day. Alright, I appreciate it, guys. That's the end of the video. Subscribe, hit like if you like the video, and if you, like I said, need anything, just comment below. Catch us next time, guys.